It feels like we're living in a day and age now more than ever before where we're addicted, right? We're bound to all these things in life, and most importantly, we're bound to social media. But that's not the point of discussion that I want to talk about. Have you ever like scrolled past social media and you see multiple pictures of people hanging out with friends, going to clubs, going to parties, dinners, social gatherings, whatever, and you start to build up a jealous sort of mentality around that. Like, why can't I have that? Can I be blessed with those things? I want to let you know that you are probably in the best position that you can ever be in your entire life, because having friends only builds comfort, while having no friends builds discipline and self-growth. And let me tell you why. We're living in a day and age and a social environment, and it's kind of starting to fickle down a little bit. It's starting to fizzle out a little bit with social media in general, where we're developing a world of free thinkers. But even still, modern society is built on the premise big social groups popularity equates to value. Big friend groups, constant plans, everybody pulling you in a certain direction, always being invited somewhere. And it starts to make you feel, for the people that are alone, it starts to make you feel unseen. You, when in actuality, you could have more fun being alone than being in a party with all these social groups out there. And social circles, most of the time, if you're, unless you're like an alpha in these, and you got people that will actually take heed to what you're saying and respect what you're doing and will respect the fact that you're willing to grow and will grow with you. But social circles these days often builds around comfort. It doesn't build around growth. It doesn't build around maturity. It doesn't build around anything to make people better. Um, but basically, it's not about personal growth anymore. Friend groups are not about personal growth anymore as it pertains to maybe years back, when people would just communicate and would stay with each other for years and years and years and decades rather. And it's more about comfort. And I'm not saying just because your friend group has comfort, it doesn't mean it can also be growth. Fun, it it can be fun to be in a productive as friends. It can be fun to get stuff done as friends, making videos together, making content, doing group projects. But it's better. It builds discipline, pushing away all those people. And I just don't see the point of having friends that most of the time will demoralize you for trying to better yourself as a person. There's no growth in that. There's no everybody's not getting better. If you walk into a certain friend group and you're meant to stay with them for 2 3 years in college, fine. That's whatever. But if you're staying in the same friend group when you graduate, and I'm talking like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, where all you're doing is partying and clubbing and all that bullshit, who's it really benefiting at that point? It ain't benefiting me. And this is the main point of saying why I say no friends actually builds growth, because it's very easy to go into any friend group and stay in comfort. It, like, take it back to when you were a kid. You that's all you would do is socialize. I think that's And even then, that even as a kid, socializing is the greatest aspect of being in this society, where you get to socialize and grow and build connections and create memories with these people. But beyond memories, what is it really building? You're stuck in the same group of people that's not bringing any value to your life, and pushing away those pushing away friends is truly where the discipline side of things come in, right? Like, when you have no friends, something very interesting happens. All the excuses, they fly out the window. all the stupidity flies out the window. All the passes, all the passes for flagrant idiocy and all this bullshit just flies out the window. You get space to think, build, and improve, and you can't do that without friend groups and peer pressure constantly nagging at the tail, constantly nagging at you left and right in any which way direction. Like I'm not saying doing like going to those social clubs is worth it once in a while, but when you're just doing it multiple times a week, every single day, like it just gets to a point where it's kind of pointless. And overall, there's no it having no friends. There's no distractions in that. Like living in a house by yourself all day, going outside to the gym, and just sticking to that consistency of schedule. There's no distractions in that, like pointless there like it just and that's what it really boils down to when it comes to all these friend groups. It's like late night pointless conversations, and you never have time to grow, and you got to give yourself. And honestly, this is the point where you start to be a little bit selfish. And I think people in their 20s, I'm especially 20 now, a lot of people need to take their freedom back and start being a little bit more selfish. Now, I'm not talking about like solitude, right? Like I could talk about solitude versus isolation, right? Alone, there's a difference between choosing to be alone and being alone because you're afraid. And now, if you're just hiding from social growth, that is just avoidance. And now, yes, I do believe that there is some skills that you need to acquire to just go out on your own and work into modern society and get a job and, try to, work on your own. And, because in this world, when you want to accomplish things, when you want to achieve things that are beyond human comprehension, you have to be able to communicate with people, and it comes down to who you know. But on the same token, you need to have social skills. On the same token, you have to be alone. You have to be locked in. You have to build discipline. And but at the same time, there's social skills where you need where they're 100% learnable. Where whether you're introverted or extroverted, you can develop social skills no matter how far behind you might think you are in life. No matter if you're 10, 15, 20, 30, 60 years old, it's never too late to learn and prioritize your discipline. That's the bottom line. And you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to take accountability. And a lot of people are choosing comfort over and allegiance over truth and discipline because they just want to blend in. The people that choose friends over building themselves up are usually fake. Then they're forced into being fake. There's no way that you could be friends with everybody. It's impossible. Like there's no and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being friendly or respectable with people, but again, if you just run around and if you're just a buddy with everybody, you're fake. You're not you're just showing off a consistent front. That's why I get on this YouTube thing and just keep it real with whoever comes in here, because there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with socializing, but you're in a phase where you have to build your body, you have to build your mindset. Like if you want to have money in life, if you want to win in life, you have to build a disciplined mindset. And being alone might be exactly what you need. And there's seasons of isolation. There's seasons that are necessary for growth. I'm experiencing that as we speak. I haven't talked to anybody since I graduated high school. And that couldn't be better for me because I had multiple chances to do this YouTube thing, and right now there's another channel where I'm growing that to 1,000 subs in 5 months, and I'm grateful. And even then, I'm going to the gym, and the gym builds discipline, which going to consistently every day. In some ways, I think it is when you just tune off all distractions. You have no phone, no social media, no nothing. It builds discipline. Uh, But there's no excuse when it um I, fuck, I lost train of thought. Um I mentioned, yeah, okay, social skills. You still need social skills, you still need communication, you still need relationships. The goal isn't have just to have is to be alone forever. The right people will come along. The goal isn't to feel inferior just because your circle is small or you might not have a circle at all. And it's common for people to talk down on other people with no friends, or they just want to stay inside, or just want to be bothered by people. And they start to come up with all types of assumptions. Oh, they might be a hermit. You don't come. Why don't come out? Maybe it's because you're in the closet too much. You're gay. You're bisexual. You're homosexual. Or it's none of your fucking business. I just want to be left the fuck alone. I just want to be left alone, man. It like between partying, clubbing, all the trips, all the events, it's just bullshit, man. It's just a mundane house of BS, you know? And listen, of course I've been to these events, right, in some way, shape, or form, and I'm just sitting there just is there any like drama? Is there like a fight gonna take place? Like, and mind you, there's some fights that, yeah, it gets your cortisol level going, and it's like, what the fuck? Bro, you like you just see all these people having a good time, having fun, and it's like, I'm not having fun. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't know. I just can't comprehend the fun aspect of going to these social bullshit gatherings and sparking up a conversation, doing that shit every day. And those things I don't really care for. And it leads to me not having many friends. You know, I want to have friends. I want to have people, a group of people that care about me, self growth, self improvement. And mind you, there's going to be setbacks and there's going to be trials and tribulation. But if there's not growth from that, if people are going to run away because I'm telling them the truth about themselves, and I'm holding people accountable, and I'm letting them into a portion of my life where they don't want to deal with it, then chances are they're an asshole and you move on. Because a lot of people just don't want to hear that shit. And I'd rather be around people who I I want to be comfortable around. Not comfortable around, but at the same time builds character, builds growth, builds discipline. I want to have people that I can let out all my emotions and not be judged for, you know? I want to have people in my circle who will care about me and hold me accountable just in the same way that I hold them accountable, you know? It's not like when you living in a social group with comfort, it's not doing anything else to help us all become better as individuals. It's kind of a waste of time in some sense. And that's real. And I want to open like, to the people who are watching this video, I want to open your eyes to the fact that it can be a waste of time hanging out with all these social groups, you know, because, you know, some people are building, and most of the time they do both at the same time with the right group of people. If you're not with a circle, and again, it's not like having friends is hard. And being alone builds discipline that you need. If you're alone right now, you have to ask yourself, if is this weakness, or is this a season of locking in? Is this a season of focus? Because if you're focused, you're not behind. You're preparing. So in summation, what I suggest to you is that if you're in a position where you don't have a friend group at all, or maybe you're just like that one friend, or if you don't feel like you have a lot of friends, your best friend is yourself right now, that's what you need to do. You need to work on yourself, because in every situation it's different. So whatever you need to work on, whatever your goals are, whatever you're striving to become, whatever you're striving to achieve, you need to focus on that, and you need to hone in and you need to work on that with yourself, and if anyone is willing to come along with you, on your journey, great. If not, you're locked in for the next 5, 10 years. And it and that and in that is there is nothing wrong with that. It's just discipline. So yeah, that's the feeling that I wanted to emanate tonight or today as I'm recording this. I don't know when I'm gonna post this, but I hope this resonates with people. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day and talk to you guys soon.